with Harrison in the final news conference before the weigh-in. More mind games coming right up. Right, it's what we've been waiting for. Let's go to a Manchester city centre hotel. Their final head-to-head news conference ahead of the best of enemies world title fight on Saturday night. It is Haye and Harrison head-to-head here on Sky Sports News HD.
Olympic gold medalist, friends who became enemies over the years. It's a special event on Sky Box Office HD. It's also available in 3D. Channel 743 for more details. So will Haye destroy Harrison? Will Harrison shock the world? Team Harrison up here. Shadiq Saluki, Audley's trainer. Eddie Hearn, Audley's promoter. To my right, Adam Booth, wearing many hats as always, but primarily David's trainer, and of course, David. So let's start off with a few words from the world heavyweight champion, David.
Thanks for coming, guys. Here we are, fight week. This is, for me, the best part of my, the best part of the event. You know, it's the lead up to, you know, Saturday night's extravaganza. I'm looking at, you know, doing big things in this fight. You know, I'm fighting a Southpaw. I haven't fought a Southpaw since Alexander Gurov in 2005. So it's a new challenge for me. You know, Audley, I know, is in great shape. He's had a great camp. You know, he's awkward. But, you know, I like testing myself, and what better to do than the Olympic champion. I'm hoping Audley's talk, he's going to try and back it up. He's going to come to the ring. I heard he's going to try and knock me out early. Tremendous. That, for me, that put a big smile on my face. The fact that I know Audley's going to come out there, hold the centre of the ring, and go to war, that's, you know, it made me feel good. I got a nice warm feeling in my stomach. I'm ready to go to war because this is what I'm born to do. I'm the heavyweight champion for a reason. I was the undisputed cruiserweight champion for a reason, because I like to fight. You know, I feel Audley doesn't like to fight as much as I do, but I'm going to force him to fight. He said he's going to make me fight every second of every round. That's fine by me. You know, I hope that he's ready to go every second of every round, because I'm in great shape. My weight's good, my timing, my technique, everything's on point, and I'm looking forward to giving a great night's entertainment. You know, I feel that this is why I'm in boxing, for these mega events, for all you people to be here, for the hype. Every time I pick up a paper, it's big news. Everybody wants to know and see this fight, and it's because it's going to be tremendous. It's going to be a great fight, great night for British boxing and British sport in general. And to make sure everybody goes out and gets it on Sky Box Office, you know, get your 3D glasses and watch this beat down in a third dimension.
Challenger Audley Harrison, your big night.
Yeah, it's my big night, and really looking forward to Saturday night. Can't wait for it. And you know, I know David Haye's coming in. I know he's trained well. I know he's 100% ready, and I know I'm going to have to be at my best, and I'm at my best. And I've said it before, the Audley Harrison that turned up and fought in the Olympics, the Audley Harrison that beat Rochelle Ciccia, and the Audley Harrison that beat Danny Williams in the second fight would destroy David Haye. And that's who's turning up on November 13. And it's going to be a tough fight, but ultimately I'm going to prevail. My destiny, I've said this mantra, yes I can, I've fallen, never given up. And Saturday night, the crowning glory. Mission complete. Audley Harrison, heavyweight champion of the world. No doubt in my mind.
Gentlemen, can I just caution everyone that we are broadcasting this on Sky Sports News, so if we could all mind the language, that would be great. David,
Yeah.
Are you wilting? Are you crumbling psychologically inside? That's what Audley's been saying about you.
No, the closer it gets to a fight, you know, the more up for a fight I get. You know, the days are drawing close now. You know, we're in the final week. This is, for me, this is what I've been waiting for the last, you know, 3 months. You know, I've really been looking for this last week, because, you know, all the hard work's done, the hard graft, the hard sparring sessions, the hard track sessions, you know, all the circuits, all the abs, all the medicine ball stuff, everything we've been doing to punish my body's been done. And all it is now is just all the fine-tuning bits. This is the bit that I actually like. It's hard, you know, training's hard, it's difficult. I've been doing it since I was 10 years old, so my whole of 20 years of doing graft. And this, you know, you got, you know, 3 or 4 days of just tapering down now, and you're letting your body recover, rejuvenate, all your energy stores, recharge. And come Saturday night, you know, I'm going to be bouncing off the walls. And I just cannot wait to hear that first bell. As that bell sounds, I'm going to go across the ring and engage in battle.
What evidence do you have, Audley, that David Haye is getting concerned ahead of this?
I know David Haye is concerned, and you know, a scared man's a dangerous man. I mean, people say about me being scared and, you know, being delusional. The thing that makes me laugh about you guys, the way you lot write about stuff and the way you lot portray things, I've always said perception is not reality. I mean, David Haye done a great job as a cruiserweight, but he wasn't the undisputed champ. You guys keep calling him the undisputed champ. Steve Cunningham had the IBF belt, so David had 3 of the belts. To be undisputed, you have to have 4. The Klitschko's, they're chasing after David Haye's belt because they want to be the undisputed. So David Haye was a 3-time champion at cruiserweight. He wasn't the undisputed, but you guys keep calling him the undisputed. So that's delusion number 1. Delusion number 2 is that David Haye thinks he's just going to walk through me. It's going to be a public execution. You get me? This fight is going to be the fight of his life because I'm going in there for my destiny, and trust me, I'm putting everything on the line. And so when you guys talk about the realities of this fight, this fight's going to be a close fight because I know David Haye don't want to give up his belt, and I know I want his belt. So anytime you have that kind of ingredients, it's going to go back and forth. You know, if I have to go down, I'll go down. If I have to get cut, I'm going to go through whatever adversity I have to go through. I've told you, adversity is your friend, and every time I've fallen, I've been able to build my character. So David Haye is not going to break my spirit. And the only way David Haye wins if he breaks my spirit or will in this fight, and he ain't going to do that. I'm unbreakable. I've been unbreakable through my career. David Haye ain't knocking me out. I've sparred with David Haye too many times. The fact that he's gone up in weight makes no difference. David Haye couldn't take me out then. He ain't going to be able to take me out now. So it's a long fight. It's a long fight, or David Haye gets taken out. So that's the reality of this fight.
Has Audley shown that warrior spirit to you, David? Have you seen that in his career? Have you seen that warrior spirit Audley's talking about?
Not that often, no. You know, you saw it against Michael Sprott. You know, credit to him. You know, a fight that he was losing. You know, he pulled it out in the last round. You know, that shows why he's the European champion. He deserved to win that fight. But other than that, you know, there's been times in his career, you know, a little bit more warrior spirit was needed against someone like Martin Rogan and Dominic Gwynn. But you know, where was that spirit and warrior? Where was that unbreakable will then? I didn't see it personally. Apparently he's acquired it from somewhere. Maybe he got it running in the mountains somewhere.
No, I ain't acquired it. I've always had it.
Borrowed it off some bear or something. He was about to attack with an axe. I don't know.
Does he have a psychological hold over you? That's what he says, dating back from amateur times. You look up to him.
I don't think so, man. You don't sound sure, blood. You don't sound sure.
Listen, I know Audley. You know, I know what he's about. You know, as I said, he knows me and I know him.
Right.
And
David, you know what I'm about.
I do
so
know.
You know who's turning up. So you know who's turning up.
I know exactly who's turning up.
Damn right.
I know you're going to. I know you're going to
be the fight of your life. No public execution.
Listen.
So I know that by the way you train. I've looked at the way you've been training, and I can see that.
And I train like the heavyweight champion of the world trains. Wow. I train. I leave no stone unturned. I make sure that all angles are covered. And to do that, you need to train. The reason why I was the undisputed champion, the reason why I'm the heavyweight champion now, is because I train every angle. I cover it, and to do that, you got to train hard. So you've been seeing clips of me training. And you're thinking, oh, David's training harder for this one. I always train hard. This is what I do. This is why I'm the champion, and this is why you're not. It's because I do what's required in the gym. I do what's required in sparring. Now, I don't take any easy rows. I don't take any easy rows. I punish myself.
That's the way to do it.
Well, we'll see.
Explain this psychological hold you have over him. Explain it to us.
Well, the thing about David Haye, for me, David Haye's a front runner. All right, if you've seen the fights that David Haye's lost, going back to the amateurs from Michael Sims in the World Championships where I was with David in 99, to Orlando Solis that he boxed in 1997. Orlando Solis was a good American amateur. The reason I have to go back to the amateur because he's only lost one time as a professional. If you look at when he fought Orlando Solis in the World Championships 2001, you know, go back. You know, history repeats itself. You know, 10 years ago I won the Olympics. History's going to repeat itself.
Fell off my tricycle when I was 4 as well.
If you see David Haye, you did.
My leg.
You did. But you learned those lessons. But in the ring you haven't. As you saw with Carl Thompson, you hadn't learned the lessons when you fought before. You hadn't, when someone, David's a front runner. He likes to get ahead, puts the pressure. But what happens when Bear's still there? Yeah, he's learned to recover from being knocked down. As you saw with Mormek, you saw with Lassen Johansson. You've seen what David, he can recover now when times get messy. But like I said, I'm not going nowhere. So once David Haye pulls ahead and tries to get ahead, I'm going to still be there as the fight progresses. And then we're going to see what happens once I start landing on David Haye. Because trust me, I'm not going nowhere early on in this fight. And so this is a long, hard slog. And I wish this fight was 15 rounds. I am ready to do 15 rounds. So I'm just can't wait to get in there. I know it's going to be a tough fight. Giving David all the credit. great champion, but ultimately the championship reign ends on November the 13th, because my time, my destiny, and my journey is going to be complete with the belt, no doubt in my mind.
It's a derby, a London derby, David. They say the form book goes out the window in a soccer derby. Are you worried about being too emotional, maybe, in this?
No, you know, Audley said he's looking back in my amateur fights for signs of weakness or whatever. You know, he's going back to '97 for some back in '97 for things. I've only got to look at his last fight. I've got to go back a few months to see weaknesses and see things that I can exploit.
That'd be a big mistake, look.
Yeah, maybe a big mistake.
That'd be a big mistake. If you just looked at my last fight, that'd be a big mistake.
Listen, you're looking back to '97.
Right.
You're looking back to '97.
I was just confirming that your blueprint.
If there's ever a mistake to look at, it's back in '97.
I've obviously gone from all your fights all the way back. Like the Valuev fight.
I can give you some tapes when I was 10 fighting.
The Valuev fight, you said, the Valuev fight, you said, it's going to be a destruction. It's going to be you talked all this big talk, and then you went there
and won the title in Germany.
Right, you did.
Two of the judges had me winning by 8 rounds in
you
Germany.
won the title. Yeah, give a credit. You won the title. But it wasn't what you talked before you went in the ring.
I won the title.
Okay, you won the title, and I'm going to win the title on November the 13th.
We'll see.
You know, so it's like what I'm trying to say is the benchmark where they hold me up, they don't hold no one else up on. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you agree? So wait a minute. So Steve Cunningham wasn't the IBF champion when you
he had the IBF title because they stripped Mormek. Stripped him.
Okay.
Mormek had all the titles. He was the undisputed champion, all the titles. And before he fought me, he had a mandatory, so he gave the IBF, and I fought him. So it was a technicality you're digging up to try to...
It's a technicality. It's not a technicality. Steve Cunningham had the belt. So in theory, you wasn't the undisputed cruiserweight champion. That's not a fair statement.
You're digging real deep.
I'm just keeping it real.
You're digging real deep.
I'm not digging that deep at all. If it was me that reported, I'm not digging that deep at all.
Oh, sorry to the WBF World Heavyweight Champion over here.
Yeah.
The former WBF World Champion.
It's just keeping it real. It's just keeping it real. That's all it is.
You're reaching real hard there.
Yeah, you know, you fought Valuev for the title. You didn't earn the shot, just like people saying I didn't earn the shot against you. You didn't earn the shot against Valuev.
And then
you talked your way into it just like
John Ruiz. I gave John Ruiz the mandatory challenger a shot after, and what happened to him? Former 2-time champion.
Same way, I won the European title that gives me the right to fight for the world title.
Exactly.
Okay.
I'm sure I had a lot more right.
So I'm here by right.
Title.
There's no luck. I'm here by right. I'm here by right. Just like everyone else who's won the European title deserved to fight for the title, I'm here by right. No accident that I'm sitting here right opposite you, Mr. David Haye. November the 13th, 2010. The new champion of the world, no doubt. Keep smiling, lads. It's hilarious.
David said the other day, Audley, that if you landed that left hand on his chin, it would break his hand.
This is a battle of mind. It's a battle of will. Huh?
He said it would break your hand when you landed.
With his glass chin will shatter? What are you talking about? Break his hand?
I might cut his hand with some of the glass from my chin. So he might bleed.
Come on, man. Out. We all know that David Haye's chin is vulnerable. We all know that. Come on, man. Don't.
Not bad for some of a glass chin, be the undisputed cruiserweight
you're a
champion.
Fighter.
You've got
a good style.
It's not bad. I'm done quite well for a glass chin fighter.
You have done well. You had one blip.
You've got a cast iron chin.
I'll give you credit. No, I'll give you credit for that.
Achieved what I have.
I'll give you credit for that. Listen, all that's going to be erased when I become WBA heavyweight champion on November the 3rd. All that's erased. You get me? Olympic champion, European champion, world champion. I'm happy with that, and I can happily say mission complete.
Okay, let's get more from Manchester. David Haye and Audley Harrison have gone head-to-head in a news conference this lunchtime. A warning, there is some flash photography coming up for this one. They are the best of enemies. Haye, 24 wins, 23 KOs, is the current WB heavyweight champion of the world, against Audley Harrison, the former European heavyweight. He's 2 inches taller, has an 8-inch reach advantage over Haye. Southpaw, and they go head-to-head this Saturday night.
Battle of Britain, the biggest fight in Britain since 1993. Yeah. How are you feeling about it? Are you excited about this fight?
Yeah, very excited. You know, what excites me is not the fight too much itself, is the public the public hype behind it. Yeah. The fact that it's got everyone sitting up, it's got everyone wanting to see this fight. That's why I'm in boxing, is to get not only the boxing fans and the sports fans, just the public in general, to sort of sit up and go, oh, I want to see this. You know, I remember Audley from 10 years ago with the Olympics. You know, I've seen David Haye win the heavyweight title fighting that giant. Yeah, I want to see these two in the ring fighting each other. I want to see what that's all about.
I did detect that there might be a little bit of unhappiness with you, or the fact that this might be a bit of a plan B fight for you. Is that possibly a danger? Complacency? The fact that you may or may not want to be here and take Audley on?
The reason why I'm the heavyweight champion of the world is so I don't take people for granted. I don't take people lightly. I train very hard for all of my fights, and I make sure I'm in the best physical condition at all stages. And you can see the best David Haye come November 13th. I'm going to be fitter, faster. You're going to see a new and improved David. A lot of people don't think I need to do that. Everyone thinks I can just come in as is, but I would never do that. I think that'd be a silly move. So I'm going to train harder than ever. I'm going to get good sparring. I'm going to make sure that all angles are covered. So I'm expecting the best possible Audley Harrison to turn up. So even if Audley Harrison ×3 turns up, he's not going to be able to land a glove on me. That
was one of the issues, really, the fact that because you may or may not want this fight, there might be one or two corners in the gym. You might not do the road work, and so 100% focused, 100% ready for this fight.
I can't afford to lose this fight. This fight is, it's for all the marbles. I can't allow someone of Audley Harrison's caliber to even give me a competitive fight. I can't let it get into a hard fight. I don't want it to be a nip and tuck fight. I want to go out there and I want to absolutely put on an exhibition. I really want to break him down slowly and punish him and then violently knock him out. It's going to be a public execution. I'm positive about it.
Some needle there in that press conference. As far as you're concerned as well, your reputation's on the line here, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Everything I've worked for over the years, I can't let it get undone by Audley Harrison. No way am I going to let that happen. He's been around too long. His name's sort of synonymous with losing, failure. He's a joke. And I can't allow someone like that to, drag me down.
So what about the fact that the Klitschko's are calling this fight the Battle of London? Does that bother you at all?
No, it doesn't bother me. Who they fighting? They're fighting Shannon Briggs. The guy's got chronic asthma. He's fighting Samuel Peters. Both of them have beaten that guy up before. He lost to Eddie, Fast Food Chambers the other day. They got to focus on their own fights. I know they're going to have easy nights because that's the type of people they fight. These guys are willing to sign these contracts which sign their life away because these guys they're fighting. They're just happy to be getting some kind of work. So they'll submit to all of the contractual obligations that they stipulate. But I'm a champion. I'm not a challenger, and they need to realise that. And once they do realise that, then we're going to sit around the negotiating table and make it happen. But until that point, they're going to keep fighting Shannon Briggs and they're going to keep fighting Sam Peter type fighters.
He posted that message calling you out in April. Fight fans want to know, why hasn't this fight happened at all?
It's because they haven't come to the negotiating table correctly. They've come there the same way they treat all their other fighters, and you got to look through history. Look at the people they treat with. Look at the contracts they get people to sign up. I've had dealings with them in the past. When I was scheduled to fight Vladimir, and the terms are ridiculous. But I was a challenger then, so I had no other option. And they really do bully their opponents into signing it. They make public announcements before it's signed, and then after the public announcement, then they try and slip in a load, and if you pull out of it, it makes it appear as though you pulled out of the negotiations. So it's nothing slick what they do. It's pretty boring, and they try to do the same thing, doing this big. They release some sort of homoerotic call out video of him doing bicep curls. I don't know who that was supposed to impress. It didn't impress me. I had a good solid win against John Ruiz, and they were probably upset that I was getting some media attention. So they tried to just chuck out a calling out. But anyone can call anybody out. It doesn't take a genius to call someone out. But when it comes time to actually make the fight happen, they're fighting Shannon Briggs.
So Saturday, November the 13th, fit, focused.
Yeah, without a doubt.
David Haye, ready to finish off Audley Harrison's career.
Finish it once and for all. His career's been a joke, and the curtain is going to get once and for all finally pulled down on his crappy career.
Do you feel that sort of sense of history and occasion with this fight? They're billing this fight as the £10 million fight, the biggest fight since Bruno and Lewis back in 1993 in Cardiff.
Oh, definitely. I feel the history. And just me and David pathway, the way we've been so connected back in the day and how we fell out, and then now how he's a champion and I'm getting a shot at his title. It's definitely history. History making, and it's definitely something I want to take advantage of.
How are you going to beat him? How do you become the WBA heavyweight champion of the world? Because in the press conference you were talking about your left hand, and how are you going to knock him out?
Right, it's no secret that I've got a big left hand. It's no secret. and it's no secret that David Haye hasn't got a good chin. So I think 1 + 1 = 2. You put my left hand on his chin, the outcome is going to be Audley Harrison, new heavyweight champion of the world. I think David's confident that he can slip and dive and duck and dive, and he can be able to get rid of me with his power. And but I can assure you that I will be in there at some point in that fight. I'm going to land my left hand on David Haye.
Do you sense complacency in David, because there's all the talk about him taking on one of the Klitschko's, and perhaps he might fall into that complacency trap and see you as a bit of a plan B?
Nah, I think David Haye is talking like that, but I know he's going to be training like a crazy man, because he knows it's my destiny, and he knows I'm coming in there to take his belt off him. So he's going to try and do everything he can to keep his belt.
He says he's going to finish your career.
Well, I mean, really, he has to say that. What else is he going to say? He's going to give me his belt? He has to say that, you know. And I'm saying what I'm saying, but I honestly believe that, like I said, I'm walking down this pathway, and I'm going to relieve David Haye of his title.
Your last fight against Michael Sprott, you were literally seconds away from what would probably be described as the end of your career. How did you pull that out of the bag, and what have you learned about yourself since then?
Well, I've learned that, you know, adversity is your friend. Losing is not an option. That's why I said losing was an option. And I found a way to win. And that was the bottom line. I never ever gave up. Even though it was the last round, I carried on looking, carried on searching, and I found a way to win and took it down.
And in the context of world boxing, yes, this is a WBA heavyweight title defence for David, but the Klitschko's have kind of branded it as the Battle of London. In world terms, where do you see this fight? How big is it?
This fight is as big as the other fights that happen in the world. Samuel Peter is fighting Vladimir, who cares? I've beaten Samuel in the amateurs. Shannon Briggs is coming back from being off for 2 years. He hasn't fought nobody. So this fight is just as big as the other fight. I'm a bigger name than Samuel Peter or Shannon Briggs. So potentially this is the most biggest fight coming up in terms of heavyweight fights, world title fights.
We've heard...
Trust me, people around the world are interested in this fight. It's not just a British fight.
Because you were saying before that perhaps people weren't interested when David Haye made his first defence against John Ruiz.
Oh, no, I didn't say that.
The last time I spoke to you, you probably were slightly dismissive of that defence, saying a bigger fight would be yourself.
Well, I mean, in terms of the world boxing, I mean, Ruiz is kind of like, he's been off the radar for a little while. That wasn't looked at. Nobody thought he was going to give David any trouble. I think a lot of people will think that, shit, if Audley lands his left hand, he can give David some trouble.
We've heard from you in the past, lots of phrases from you. Yes, we can. This is your journey. This is your destiny. Do you truly believe on November the 13th that you will be the WBA champion of the world?
Yeah, 100%, no doubt. It's my destiny, it's my pathway. I've had my trials and tribulations, but it's not by accident that I'm still here, and I'm going to finish my journey with a belt.
And what about one of David Haye's criticisms of you, saying that perhaps you've gained this chance through the back door a year ago, perhaps being on the prize fighter spiel, that brought your profile back up in the UK. He's basically accusing you of sneaking through the back door for this chance, isn't he?
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. When I take his belt off him, who's going to care? That's the bottom line. Nobody cares. Whether I did or not, it doesn't matter. The main thing is that I'm going to take the belt. That's the main thing. And how I got there doesn't really matter. The fact is I've had to overcome a lot of obstacles, and that's a testament to my strength and character.
So as far as you're concerned, when you do become WBA heavyweight champion, is everything okay with you and David? You're going to go over there, you're going to shake his hands, and you're going to be friends again?
Well, you know, I remember, like I said, it's strictly business, and I'm just focused on getting the victory. All the stuff that he's done to me has just been part of the story, part of the journey. And like I said, it's personal, and that's where it's at the moment.
Former world welterweight champion Lloyd Honeyghan disagrees with Bruno. He expects Haye to beat Harrison with ease.
David Haye, you're going to knock Audley Harrison spark out.
Is that your prediction? You think David's going to come out?
David Haye is going to knock Audley Harrison out. O-U-T.
What about when you was in your prime? Would you step into the ring with David?
Yes, and I would be very careful because David Haye has brought his power with him. You know, I didn't realize he had that sort of kind of power. So, but with me and David Haye, it's a different kind of fight because I fought a lot of lateral movement. So someone like me is hard to tag. I got too much lateral movement for that. You know what I mean? So I'm smart. All Harrison will know one way to fight, and my money on the haymaker.
I can only see David Haye winning, but heavyweight boxing, nothing is predictable, and the unexpected always happens, as I've known that myself with Lennox Lewis. So as much as my brain and everything tells me Haye's going to win the fight. Something can always happen in heavyweight boxing.
It does seem the closer we get to the fight, the more and more people are going to the other side and saying there's something about Harrison this time. He just seems to be fancied.
Yeah, he talks a lot. That's about all he does do.
Now, Audley Harrison will take on David Haye on Sky Box Office on November the 13th for the WBA heavyweight title. He's in training in East London later today in the very gym where once training as an amateur, the Repton Boxing Club. We can cross there live now to our reporter Roger Clark. Roger, what's happening there this morning?
Yes, welcome along to the Repton Club, right in the heart of the East End, famous old boxing club established way back in 1884. And you need only look around the place just to see that this place is absolutely steeped in boxing history. They've produced a long line of quality amateur fighters, none more so, of course, than Audley Harrison, who you can see up there on the wall. And of course he'll be back in here a little later on speaking to us live and going through a bit of a workout session ahead of his world title fight against David Haye on November the 13th. But it was boxing out of here as an amateur that he won the British title, he won the Commonwealth gold medal and ultimately the Olympic gold medal in Sydney 10 years ago. And now 10 years on, he gets his shot at the world title. And one man who's been heavily instrumental in getting him that shot at the world title is Eddie Hearn, who's going to speak to us live now here on Sky Sports News. Now, Eddie, thank you very much for joining us. And clock is ticking, less than a couple of weeks away now. And how have the preparations been going?
Preparations have gone absolutely perfectly. You know, he's spent a lot of time out in Big Bear. We were out there last week. Preparation's great, confidence is fine, and you know he fancies a job coming back here to probably the spiritual home of boxing, a place where he grew up and started his dream, started his journey, and fitting that he should be back here today to prepare for his world title shot.
It's not that long ago that people were looking at Audley Harrison and thinking, well, where does he go now? He looked like his chance had perhaps passed him by. He couldn't get a fight. He'd lost 4 in 8. He went through a stretch where he lost 4 in 8. Just tell us how you got involved and how we've come to this, that you know, within a space of a couple of fights, he's fighting for the world title.
Well, it was a chance meeting. For people who don't know, Audley's a keen and very accomplished poker player. I'd like to say the same about myself, but we were both at the World Series of Poker. We do a lot of poker at Matchroom. And luck would have it that we drew the same table in the $10,000 main event there. And a lot of people had told me Audley Harrison was in town, and I was keen to get him into our prize fighter tournament, you know, purely from a commercial perspective, not really thinking about the journey that we might take together. And when I met him, I was really sort of overwhelmed by his burning desire to still be a champion. And you know, I've been an Audley Harrison critic, as many have. But when someone's got that desire and that ambition and that look in their eye, it's very difficult to rein them back. And, you know, I took to him, you know, and I believed in him. And he's a great talker. He has you believe in him. But he came over for a prize fighter, you know, and every fight that we've had with Audley has been his last chance. So the pressure's been massive, you know, especially fighting against prize fighter 3-minute rounds where it's every fighter's World Cup final. You know, Audley went in there and he won his first 2 fights and he had to knock the guy out coming from behind Coleman Barrett to win prize fighter. Prize fighter, as it is at the moment, you know, the hottest thing in boxing, gives you the chance to progress to bigger things. We made the European title fight, and all kinds of things have happened along this journey that makes me feel that he's going to complete the dream and beat David Haye. And we were due to fight Albert Sosnowski, who then got the call up to fight Vitaly Klitschko. Michael Sprott then came in to replace him, who'd beaten Audley before, knocked him spark out cold. And in the 3rd round, everything's going really well, and then Audley ruptures his pectoral muscle and fights with one hand, and slowly, round by round, I'm sitting there with my old man and just thinking, oh well, you know, it was a good crack. We thought we might have a chance here, but the dream's over. And a minute left, he knocked Michael Sprott cold out. And here we are today. It's a great story. It's a great comeback. You know, like I say, a year ago, Audley Harrison had nowhere to go, and through prize fighter, but more importantly through his determination and his dreams, he's one step away from the heavyweight title.
I saw some quotes from you recently, and you were saying that Audley said he's been overwhelmed by some of the support he's been getting from the British public. Are you noticing a real groundswell of people getting behind him for this fight?
Unbelievable, you know. I mean, this is a guy who all he's ever had is a dream to be heavyweight champion of the world. You know, he won a gold for this country in the Olympics, and as soon as he turned pro, he was booed. We're a strange kind, aren't we? I mean, I don't know what that is about the British public. And all of a sudden, he's fallen, he's been battered to the floor. No one's given him an ounce of credit ever, and maybe he hasn't deserved it, but he's kept on getting up, fighting, climbing that mountain. And I think now the British public are saying, you know what, Audley Harrison's a good guy. He's just a man from the street with a dream to be heavyweight champion, and you can't take that away from him. I think now David Haye's coming across so badly, his ego's way out of control. I mean, I read yesterday in the Sunday paper that he's going to be the biggest new star in Hollywood that the UK's ever seen. I mean, he calls Audley Harrison deluded. You know, I think he's got something to answer for there. But, you know, I think Haye is where Audley was 10 years ago, signed a 7-figure contract with the BBC, and Audley admits he's made huge mistakes. His ego was out of control, but he's very happy, he's comfortable with himself and in his life. And, you know, he's in my mind, he's a favourite to win this fight.
My colleague at Sky Sports News, Craig Slater, spent some time with Audley out in Big Bear, and we got a real insight there into Audley as a person, as a family man as well. Do you feel that he's changed his personality, or has he been misunderstood? Because he said, I mean, straight away he was booed, even though he'd won an Olympic gold medal.
I think he's just grown up. You know, he's, like I say, he's happily married with a beautiful daughter, lives out in America now, he's humble. I think he's experienced so many down times in his life that he's had to go through that to really find himself and realise what he wants to achieve. He's never given up. You know, the worst thing that can happen to any fighter is all of a sudden they start making a load of money. It's very difficult for someone to turn pro with 7 figures in the bank. You know, and Audley, he'll hold his hands up. He made some mistakes, but he's never ever given up. He's never lost sight of the dream. And I think that's something that the British public have got to embrace now and say, you know what, we love an underdog. Fair play to this guy. Let's get on the bandwagon.
You mentioned some of the things that David Haye said in the build-up to this fight. Do you feel that because of what he's been saying, Audley is now sort of the good guy, the guy who was booed before, is now being cast as the good guy in this fight?
Well, I always felt that the wind of change would mean that Audley would receive more and more support as the build-up went on. But David's really just sort of handed us a golden lifeline in that some of the things he's been saying, I mean, they don't need to be repeated, but they're wrong and they're, you know, they're just not right to be said in front of a build-up to a boxing man. 2 men getting in the ring of which you have to have great respect for them. Audley has big respect for David Haye. David Haye has no respect for Audley Harrison. And I think there's more of a sort of I think David is envious of Audley because at the end of the day, this fight is not about David Haye. This fight is about Audley Harrison. Audley Harrison is a bigger name in the UK than David Haye. Not in boxing circles, but outside of the boxing and sporting fraternity, Audley Harrison is a bigger name than David Haye. And that eats away at David Haye. And I don't think he can handle that. This isn't about David Haye, this fight. This is about Audley Harrison. And David Haye is just another chapter in the Audley Harrison story.
For you personally, of course, you're involved in prize fights, you're involved in other sports as well. But how has this been? A world heavyweight title fight. How's this been to be involved in?
Listen, I've been around boxing for over 20 years. You know, I grew up with my dad promoting Eubank, Ben, Collins, Lennox Lewis, Nazim Hamed. Seen some great times, and that was when real boxing was at a real boom time. And we've seen, you know, I think boxing's back on the way up now. But a year ago, when I made the call to my old man and told him that, look, we're going to give Audley Harrison a go here. He's going to win prize fighter. He's going to win the European title shot, and then he's going to knock David Haye out. And he laughed at me and he said, good luck with that, you're on your own. And I saw him yesterday on Sunday lunch and I said, keep watching, keep watching. And he's not an Audley Harrison fan, but he believes as well that destiny is going to get him over the line.
And the story, of course, doesn't end here because it could be that November the 13th, Audley Harrison is the champion of the world. Are you ready behind the scenes looking at perhaps what happens next?
Yeah, you know, no one in the camp is looking past November the 13th. You know, all that is on anyone's mind is that fight. Whatever happens after that, you know, we'll go away and sit down. You know, we've got a clause in our contract that means we'd have to have a rematch with David Haye. That's fine. Once we beat him once, we know we can beat him twice. But, you know, heavyweight boxing is all about manoeuvring. That's why I respect David Haye and I respect Adam Booth for what they've done. You know, they've slipped and slide all around, taking the easy way to the heavyweight title. You know, they fought Nikolai Valuev, who, let's be honest, you know, is a circus act. Not a great fighter. He nearly lost that fight. You know, he ran like a thief in the night for 12 rounds, but that's the tactic they took. They fought John Ruiz, who came over to retire. People got to realise David Haye has never been tested as a heavyweight. You know, so Audley Harrison is a big test for him, and I think that the Haye camp, you know, they decided to duck Klitschko like they always do. Are they in it for the right reasons? You know, do they want to create a legacy in the sport? If you want to create a legacy, surely you fight the very best and you want to unify the titles. So what? They might be arguing over £200,000 or £300,000 when they're making 5 or 6 million each. So maybe I think David's in the game for all the wrong reasons. The money, the ego, whatever. Audley's just got one dream, to be heavyweight champion of the world, and that's all he's after. We can't look no further at the moment.
And I have to ask you for a prediction. You're obviously backing Audley to win the fight. Is it going to be a 12-rounder, tactics winning through, or do you think he's got the power to knock David Haye out?
You know, it's heavyweight boxing. It's hard to predict. All I can say is that Audley Harrison will give David Haye one hell of a fight. He is, if you could imagine how much something in your life where you've wanted something so badly, times that by 100, and you're probably not even as close as you are to how badly Audley Harrison wants to win this fight. That is why it's going to be a great fight, the greatest fight the British public have seen in a long time. The hype is going to be built up over the next 2 weeks. But all I can tell you is that our man has got a burning desire to win this fight, and he will fight David Haye every second, every minute of every round.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for joining us there, Eddie Hearn, there, Audley Harrison's promoter. A little later on, we'll be hearing from Audley himself, and we'll see him in the ring as he continues his preparation for that huge fight against David Haye on November the 13th.
Thank you, Roger. What a boxing club that is. History all over the wall there. All those pictures. Good to hear from Eddie Hearn. And history, new chapter will be written. Big fight, week Saturday. David Haye taking on Audley Harrison in Manchester. Coverage gets underway from 8 p.m. on Sky Box Office HD. For more.
Haye versus Harrison, the former friends who are now bitter rivals, both here in the studio ahead of their big fight. Now, we come to two guys who used to be friends, good friends, but now they really do not like each other at all. In fact, next weekend, they will step into a boxing ring in a bid to knock their opponent out cold. The prize is the heavyweight boxing title of the world, and perhaps more importantly to them, the final word on their very personal feud. Ladies and gentlemen, London Tonight is very proud to present on the same bill and in the same studio, David Haye and Audley Harrison. Good evening to you. We will talk to you in just a moment after a rundown of their form sheet. David Haye, also known as the Haymaker, was born in Bermondsey. He's 30 years old and he's the WBA heavyweight champion. Meanwhile, Audley Harrison, dubbed the A-Force, is from Harlesden. He's 39 years old and is the former Olympic super heavyweight champion. In terms of stature, Haye is 6 foot 3 inches tall. He currently weighs 15 stone and 4 pounds, and his reach is 80 inches. But Harrison is taller at 6 foot 5.5 inches. He's heavier, weighing 17 stone and 10 pounds, and his reach is 84 inches. All very impressive stuff. We're going to start with you, Audley. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
Now, if we're honest here, you are rated as the underdog in this fight. You haven't got a world title to lose. You haven't got much to lose at all, really, have you?
No, you know what? There's no pressure on me at all. Went to the Olympics, and most people didn't have me tipping me to win it. And I kept on banging on about I'm going to win the gold medal. And I went there, no pressure. I went and won the gold. And I'm in the same scenario again. I'm fighting David Haye. Most people think he's the favourite. David Haye has come out with these big statements, public execution. By the time I land my left hand, he could be in the after party. I've told David he's going to be in the fight of his life. And so David's going to have to back up all his talk, because I ain't going nowhere in this fight. And I'm going to be in his face 24/7, 365, looking to take that belt.
All right, well, let's turn to David and the belt there. Looked jolly impressive next to you, I have to say, David.
Yeah, I spent my whole life to acquire this trinket here.
You certainly believe you're going to hang on to that trinket?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Why are you doing it then? Is it simply just to settle this bout of unhappiness between you?
It's a fight that the British public have demanded. Everybody wants to see this fight. It has to happen. You know, Audley's been a household name since the Olympics. He said he won gold there. He's claimed for 10 years that he's going to have this belt. It hasn't happened. He hasn't come close to even getting to it. But he's finally somehow managed to string a good bit of form along. You know, winning the tournament, the prize fighter tournament. Then obviously winning the European title, so now he deserves his shot now.
All right, well, there's been lots of banter between you. I'm going to put something to you, Audley. You said that he deserves a whipping, his words, not mine, because of what he has done to me. So let's clear this up once and for all. What has he done to you that upset you so very much?
I'm not even talking about that now.
But that's what people want to know.
Well, what people need to realise is that David Haye has the belt, the WBA championship. I've been saying for 10 years I'm going to be the next heavyweight champion. I now have an opportunity to fight for that belt. The fact that it's David Haye, a guy that I groomed, a guy that I mentored, it's a bonus. But the fact that I'm fighting for the championship of the world, that's enough motivation and desire for me to pull it on the line.
But I'm going to stick with this question, but straight over to you, David. I mean, I've read that you used to be as good as brothers. You used to spar together. You tell me why you two don't get on anymore.
As you said, we spar together, and apparently I went a bit hard on him in a sparring session, apparently in Miami a few years back, and sort of since then we've sort of gone our separate ways. He lives in the States, I live over here, and you know, I've read certain things he said in the press. Time and time again, and you know, the best way to settle things is having a fight. When you get two people, you know, they got their own opinions. I know I'm right, he thinks he's right. So what better way is there to get in the ring and prove it? You know, in front of the world. You know, 22,000 people at the MEN Arena, live on the Sky box office. Let's settle it once and for all.
Okay, well, he has said that you were at the top of your game, as you say, 10 years ago. You just won the Olympics. But then ego got the better of you.
Right, 100%.
Do you think that his ego is getting in the way?
No doubt in my mind. No, the thing about David Haye, he hasn't contemplated losing, right? And he's going to go in a very dark place when I knock him out on the 13th and take away his belt. I know I'm going to be in a hard fight. It's going to be a tough fight, but I guarantee you I'm knocking David Haye out November the 13th, no doubt in my mind.
What if you don't? Would that be the end of your boxing career?
Listen, there's no if, buts or maybe. 12-round fight. David is not going to break my heart, my soul, my spirit, and I'm knocking you out in this fight. No doubt in my mind, 100%.
All right, knockout in which round? Let's have a
prediction.
No,
I'm not picking around. This is about victory. It's about getting that belt. It's going to be a tough fight. I might have to go down. I might have to get cut. But I'm telling you now, David Haye, you will not break my heart or my spirit in this fight, and I'm going to break yours, and I'm knocking you out. No doubt.
I think that's what you call fighting talk.
I'm really hoping that he's telling the truth. I really hope he brings what he's saying he
no
can
doubt
do.
in my mind.
I'm hoping that you trained hard. I'm hoping that you're healthy.
Training's over now.
You've got no excuses.
No
I hope
excuses.
You taper down nice and strong. You're nice and fast, and your time is great. Because I'm going to do something that's never been done to you before. You've never been in a ring with anyone near remotely as fast as
David, I've sparred many rounds with you. One time you got the better of me. I've sparred many rounds with you.
Guys,
I've
never had to lay two great big boxes, but I'm going to have to call it
sparred many rounds.
And you know what happened in them rounds.
Let us just simply say, may the best man win. Perhaps the winner will come back and talk to us. Thank you both for joining us. From Fireworks in the Ring.
It's going to be a good fight. You know, I'm excited about it. Both guys are looking good shape, and they talk a good fight. So we want to see the action in the ring. It's always dangerous to make one guy, you know, the ultimate winner before the fight happens, because things can happen differently. You know what I mean? Everybody was picking me against Frank Bruno, but when Frank Bruno stepped in the ring, he really gave it to me for the first 4 or 5 rounds until I kind of warmed up. And you know, anything can happen in there. So you know, they're two good fighters. Audley, you can't count him out because he's an Olympian, and that's the pedigree for being a champion. His last fight, you know, he brought it home at the end, so that still shows that he still has a lot of hunger in him, and I don't think it's fair to really count him out.
David Haye's getting knocked out.
You know, I know I'm in terrific shape. I've trained really hard. All you've got to do is look at my condition to see that no corners have been cut. You know, I've grafted, I've put the work in, and Audley, I'm sure, was hoping I'd take it easy because I was fighting him, that I wouldn't really push myself to Audley probably didn't think he motivated me enough, but he's got me completely wrong. I know Audley's strengths, I know he can be effective, and I know what I need to do to take him out. I sensed fear. You know, I think it's all got real for me. It's easy to talk big weeks away from a fight. When you've got a man standing in front of you, you know you're going to have to fight him in a matter of hours. You know, I could hear his heart beating. He didn't enjoy being in that situation. I think Audley Harrison is going to start piping down a little bit now. I think the big boasts he was making before are going to really quieten up, because he's the realisation of me standing in front of him in peak condition, better than I've ever been in before. It's the lightest I've ever weighed at heavyweight, and he's going to be in for a world of hurt.
I'm going to call it the best man on the night will win.
That's a cop-out, you know. Very diplomatic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I was saying a couple of days ago how one-sided this fight is going to be. You know, I said some things that upset a few people. You know, I said this fight is going to be as one-sided as a gang rape. You know, that upset a lot of people, but it's going to be so one-sided. It couldn't be any more one-sided than a boxing match can be. He's not going to land any of his shots. I'm going to land all of mine, and he's going to be left unconscious on the floor.
You're sorry you said that, though, aren't you?
Listen, wait until you see the fight. When you see the fight...
I mean about the comments that you made.
I'm
You're
not embarrassed by it, no. I'm not embarrassed by it. I want people to tune in to see the most devastating knockout they'll ever see in their life.
Yeah, but you could have used a different
I could have used
phrase,
I could have used I'm gonna beat him. I'm gonna, you know, it's gonna be as one-sided as a gang beating. It's gonna be one-sided. That was the harshest possible thing I could think of in life.
You see, I've always admired you, and I really have, but I really thought that was very disrespectful.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I said it's going to be as one-sided.
I know, but
as one-sided. I wasn't saying I'm going to gang rape him. I wasn't condoning anything. I said it was going to be as one-sided. This fight is going to be that one-sided. As one-sided.
It's not going to be one-sided.
It is going to be one-sided.
It's not going to be a one-sided fight. And this is what people need to
realise.
You're here to
stop it being one-sided.
It's not going to be a mismatch. You know, people think he's going to walk through and annihilate me.
It's going to be as one-sided as anybody's ever seen in a boxing ring.
I've told you before, you were going to be in the fight of your life.
You will be unconscious. You will be knocked out. You need to be stretching out of the ring, trust me.
It's going to be the fight of his life.
As one-sided as you've ever seen.
Yeah, okay.
Right, we're going to head back to Audley Harrison's training camp now. Delighted to say we're going to be speaking to the man himself. Audley, very good afternoon. How well has this training session gone then, despite all the interruptions from the like of Roger Clark?
It's been a great session. I'm ready to go. I died, but I came back stronger, fitter, more hungry. I'm ready for my moment of destiny. See, they thought I was buried. They thought they wouldn't see the last of Audley Harrison, but Audley Harrison showed what perseverance is, what true British spirit is. I'm here for my moment of destiny, and I am so ready. Can't wait. November 30th, I can't wait. David Haye, I thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm going to take your belt. No doubt in my mind. I thank you, I thank you, I thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Not mine, you understand. It's great to hear you sounding so confident ahead of what is going to be such a big fight. Why are you so confident? And every boxer has to go in confident. If not, you're in the wrong kind of game. But why are you so confident you can unpick this man and come out victorious and be a new champion?
Like I said, I've been saying it for a long time. It's my destiny to be a world champ. I've been beaten down, but I've never given up. And if you just look at my pedigree, you look at my background, you know I'm not going into this fight thinking I've just got a puncher's chance. I'm going to be standing at that starting line, believing I can win, knowing I paid the price to win, and so that makes me a different kind of animal. You know, I've got the pedigree. I'm an Olympic gold medalist, 2004. The Ring magazine had me the future of the heavyweight. So you already know I've got the skills. People have questioned my heart. They've questioned my desire. You saw in my last fight with Michael Sprott, I overcome adversity. I didn't give up, and I found a way to knock him out. So I'm bringing everything to the table, and I believe when you take everything else away, I believe my skills and my ability is better than David Haye, and that's going to be the difference.
Where specifically then is this fight going to be won and lost then? If you've got everything you say you have, where exactly are you going to be targeting? Obviously without giving too much away, but where exactly are you going to come out victorious? Is it all about that one big punch, or is it more than that? Is it about speed? Is it about ring craft?
Hell no. There you go, baby. It's called the sweet science for a reason. Okay, and the sweet science says, I've always said, brains over brawn. David Haye is about brawn over brain. So you're going to see a lesson in the sweet science. You know, I've got from Phil Torrance to Buddy McGirt to Shadid Saluki. I believe I've been trained by better trainers who've taught me the fundamentals of boxing. And I believe that I can apply the sweet science in that square ring better than David Haye can apply the brawn. So it's going to be sweet science, brains over brawn. I already know I've got the heart. I already know I've got determination. I already know I've got perseverance. I know I can overcome adversity. David Haye is going to be bringing a lot to the table. He's got a lot of skills. I give him tremendous credit for being a good champion, but he has weaknesses, and it's for the championship of the world.
What are his weaknesses?
And I told you that David Haye.
What are his weaknesses in specific? What are his weaknesses specifically?
Well, here you go. Here you go. He's got a chin. Okay, I saw him working out in the gym. He does all these exercises for the body, but it's hard to put muscles on your chin. And I've got a left hand that tells me 1 + 1 = 2. When I land my left hand on his chin, David Haye's going to go down. I've already heard that Tony Thompson, his sparring partner, knocked him down a few weeks ago in training camp. So we know that David Haye's vulnerable. We also know he's very exciting. We know he's explosive. He's got fast hands. But when this left hand here, on the chin, what's going to happen? He could knock me out on the chin, but it's not going to happen. I can take David Haye's best punch. He can't take mine. That's going to be the difference in this fight.
Audley Harrison is the new heavyweight champion of the world. No doubt, 100%. I'm bringing it home. Yes, I can.
But what happens if the kind of blows that detonated on Enzo Maccarinelli's chin land on yours? Can you withstand those kind of blows?
Enzo's a cruiserweight. Enzo's a cruiserweight. I'm a heavyweight. I've been knocked out one time in my career by Michael Sprott. One time. David Haye's been knocked out by light heavyweights. He's been knocked out about 6 times. So it ain't going to be no surprise to people in the boxing game if David Haye's on the canvas. Now, what he's learned over the years with John Mark Momek, he's been able to recover from getting knocked down. That's the difference. Before, he would fold, but now he recovers and he comes back strong. So obviously, one knockdown ain't going to be enough in this fight. I'm going to have to knock him down. I'm going to have to knock him down again. So it's going to be a very tough fight. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. It's going to be very tough. But when I tell you this, I'm putting everything on the line, and it's going to be too much for Mr. David Haye. So it's going to be a war. I might have to taste the canvas. I don't mind. I'm getting up, and I'm going to make David Haye quit in this fight. Guaranteed, no doubt in my mind, 100%, I'm winning the championship. Watch what happens on the 13th.
No, we cannot wait. We're looking forward to it, Audley. You mentioned that you heard from the Audley camp that he's been knocked down. Sorry, not the Audley camp, the David Haye camp, that he's been knocked down in training. Have you suffered the same circumstances in your training?
When you see David, ask him if it's true.
No, we will. When we get the chance, we'll ask him. But have you been knocked down in training to build up to this fight?
It's not the end of the world. It's not. I haven't been knocked down in training camp. No. You know what? I had 3 sparring partners, okay, and there was a bounty on my head. You can ask anyone in camp. Anyone who knocked me down, I said, listen, I will give you 500 extra pounds. Well, actually, it was dollars because we was in America. But $500 if you knock me down. Please knock me down. So they were always trying to knock me down in sparring. Because I know David Haye's going to try and knock me down. So we had live sparring, 3 sparring partners. Nobody collected the bounty. The bounty is still in my pocket, getting dust on it. They've still got, we got 5 days left. So they've still got a chance to collect the bounty. Because I want them to knock me out. Because I know that's what David Haye's going to be doing. So I had a great camp. I'm so prepared. I know David Haye's had a great camp. David Haye, listen, I'll give you all credit. Okay, I'll give you all respect. You're undisputed cruiserweight champion. Well done. World champion, WBA. You beat Valuev in Germany. Well done. But on November the 13th, your reign ends. And Audley, the guy who mentored you, okay, the guy used to, when you was a little youngster, used to look after you, okay, I'm taking back my belt. So thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it. Okay, there's no anger, there's no malice. I have a lot of love for you and a lot of disappointment in you. And thank you for giving me the opportunity. And Britain, I know you like to call me fraudly, but on the 30th of November, it's going to be extraordinary. So tune in, check it out. You're going to see what the fuss is about. Audley Harrison, the man who said yes he can, who never gave up, okay, never gave up, persevered even when it was dark. I still walked ahead like a blind man with a cane. Never gave up. And now I'm at my moment of destiny, and I'm not going to be denied by David Haye.
I'll tell you what, Audley, when it comes to...
Yes, I can. Yes, I will.
When it comes to talking, when it comes to selling a fight, you are not Audley Harrison. You're extraordinary, Harrison. You're doing a terrific job. Let's be sensible for one moment, though. Just talk us through what happens then. The fight's a week on Saturday. What's the game plan over the next few days? What kind of things are you going to be doing? How do you get yourself ready for that big moment?
Well, we're just focusing and sharpening the tools. I'm used to the big occasion. I went to the Olympics. It was a big occasion. My professional debut was a big occasion. I fought in America on the Mickey Ward Arturo Gatti, one of the fights of the century. I was a co-main event to that, so I've been in big occasions. I've been there before, and you know what? It's a never day at the office. All that extra pressure and all that drama. No, I went to the Olympics. I dyed my hair. I was drinking coffee, having fun. That's what this is about, because I've paid the price. The victory is won in training camp, and I've paid the price. I feel I can stand on that starting line knowing that I've given my everything. Haven't left nothing but everything I've given. On the 13th, I'm going to give it my all, and I believe 100% it's good enough to beat David Haye, who's a very good champion, but unfortunately for him, it's my destiny, and I'm not going to be denied.
And the news is, Audley, our reporter Roger Clark has got his PE shorts on and wants to try and win that £500. He's waiting for you. Good to speak to you.
Well, he's going to need a hammer and a mallet. He's going to need a hammer and he's going to need a mallet, and I need to be sleeping for him to cash it up.
Audley, brilliant stuff. Appreciate it. We'll no doubt speak to you again before the big fight, but thanks for your time and all the best for the next few days training.
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. No doubt.
Unbelievable. Fantastic. Entertaining. Will the fight match it? I think it might just. You can see the big fight a week on Saturday. Coverage gets underway 8 p.m. Sky Box Office HD, Sky Box Office 3D. And for more information, please call 08442 410 888. I'll tell you what, no matter what people say about it, he's a top guy, because I remember after the Olympics in 2000, I went to this big event in London. He was there, got his gold medal, and my mate knew nothing about sport. We were waiting outside to go home, and he went up to Audley and thought, because he was standing with all the taxi drivers, thought he was a taxi driver, and asked him how much back to Chiswick. And he took it brilliantly, and then flashed his gold medal. At which point my mate shrunk about that much.
Oh my goodness.
He is a top bloke, and will it be a top fight? We shall find out.
I think he's
3 inches shorter than Audley Harrison. He's got 24 wins and 1 defeat in his career, with 22 knockouts, a 78-inch reach. And as we said before, the heaviest has been his 15 stone 12. Audley Harrison, 27-4 his record. Those 4 defeats coming in 8 fights between 2005 and 2009. 20 knockouts he has to his name. He's 6'6" tall and has a massive 86-inch reach, which is one of the longest in world boxing. But look at Audley trying to whip up the crowd. We've got chants of no you can't and yes we can going on in here. Great atmosphere.
Yeah, there's 1,000 fans here. And I'm surprised how good a reception Audley Harrison's been getting. I wonder if that'll be true on the night. Here we go.
We see Audley stripping off. What do you make of his physique, Jim?
It looks fantastic. I was impressed, as I say, yesterday in the gymnasium. It looks fantastic. Let's see what he weighs.
It's considerably heavier than we thought he would weigh. That's heavier than he weighed last time. Only 7 pounds below his career heaviest. A surprise.
That is a bit of a shock, actually. So I think what we deduce from that, he is looking to maximise his size advantage over Haye, and to try to make that count, as Jim's been saying, in the later rounds. If he can get that far, of course.
But it looks like he's carrying that weight pretty well, you still have to say, Jim.
Yeah, he has a tremendous frame. As you can see, he's performed reasonably well at that weight before, but I'm surprised. I expected him to be a little bit lighter, because I expected him to be in the best condition of his life, and the weight does reflect the condition that you're in.
Let's see what Haye weighs here. Remember, the lightest he's been is 15 stone 8. I think he might be around that. Let's see. Maybe even lighter.
I wasn't quite able to make out exactly what that weight was. I don't know if we could perhaps get...
Scales at 15 stone and 1/2 pound.
Goodness gracious, that is a shock.
3 stones lighter. 3 stones lighter.
That is remarkable. Of course, David Haye was a cruiserweight before this campaign, 2-year campaign at heavyweight. Is effectively coming into the ring as a big cruiserweight, Jim.
Let's have a look at the tail of the tape for this fight. David Haye, 9 years younger. Audley Harrison, 39 now. He's taller. And look at that, the 3 stone or so weight differential in Harrison's favour, and an 8-inch reach advantage for Audley Harrison. Can he make that count tonight? Harrison, a professional now for 9 years after his Olympic gold. David Haye for 8 years. Harrison's had a few more fights. The difference is, though, that Haye has beaten 4 world champions, boxed at a much better level. Look at that, too. 88% knockout record for David Haye. He is devastating.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you, and welcome to the MEN Arena here in Manchester, England, for the featured bout of the evening, brought to you by Adam Booth for Haymaker Boxing in association with Golden Boy Promotions and Sauerland Event. Also presented live and exclusive on Sky Box Office HD, and for the first time in 3D. This bout is sanctioned by the World Boxing Association. The president is Gilberto Mendoza. Supervisor is Dave Roden. Along with the British Boxing Board of Control, the steward in charge is Charles Giles. Our timekeepers at the bell, also keeping count of the knockdowns this evening. We have Andrew East and Barry Pinder. Introducing to you our three judges scoring this bout from ringside. From Birmingham, Terry O'Connor. From Leeds, Dave Paris. And from Derby, Paul Thomas. And our third man to the ring, the referee in charge. He'll be giving instructions after the introductions from Puerto Rico, Luis Pabon. All right, fans, here we go with the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBA Heavyweight Championship of the world. And now, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and boxing fans joining us around the world, live from Manchester, it's showtime! Introducing first, the challenger on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red trunks with silver trim, hailing from Wembley, London, England. He weighed in at 18 stone, 1 pound, 8 ounces, with a record of 27 wins and 4 losses. He has 20 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, he is making his first attempt at a world title. Here is the 2000 Olympic gold medalist, the former European heavyweight champion, introducing the always dangerous Audley Harrison. And his opponent across the ring, ready to go, the defending world champion on my right, fighting out of the red corner, wearing blue and red trunks, trimmed in the Union Jack, hailing from Bermondsey, London, England. He weighed in at a ready 15 stone, 8 ounces, with a record of 24 wins and 1 loss. He has 22 big wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the former unified cruiserweight world champion, tonight making the second defense of his heavyweight title. Here is the hard-hitting and defending WBA heavyweight champion of the world, introducing the Haymaker, David Haye. Once again, our referee in charge, Luis Pabon, now to give instructions.
Okay, guys, I give you instruction. Okay, guys, I give you instruction in the dressing room. Let's have a clean match, okay? Good luck and God bless you.
You've read and heard the millions of words spoken by both fighters. The hype has been deafening, but now the truth is the action that's about to unfold. All the answers coming up. David Haye has 15 wins inside 3 rounds. He's built for speed. Harrison says this is his destiny, his night at last. Can he suddenly produce the performance he thinks he's capable of to do this? Look at him towering over Haye.
Well, his body language was good during the introductions. He was claiming the centre of the ring. He wasn't hiding in the corner. Had his hands up before the bell sounded. He marched straight up. He's trying to go forward. So positive signs that he fancies the job. At this moment, will that change if a big punch is detonated on his chin? But positive look about Harrison, which is encouraging.
Over 18 stone in there, Audley Harrison. Haye, who decked John Ruiz in his last defence with almost his first punch of the contest. Big booming right hand. He's only fought one southpaw before in the pros and finished him off in 40 seconds in a European title fight. But he was knocked out by the southpaw Jim Twite in the amateurs. Haye. Cagey stuff, Jim.
Yeah, but his upper body movement is good. You know, showing little feints. He's trying to draw that southpaw jab from Harrison. But Harrison knows what's expected and he's not obliging. So, two good pros who know what they're doing, just boxing their way into this, concentrating and not making any mistakes.
In the amateur days, Harrison was the sorcerer and Haye the apprentice. Things have changed so much now. Looking for an angle for the punch again. It's been a bit of a standoff so far in this opening round, a reconnaissance mission, if you like.
That could be one of the problems for Haye. Harrison is quick on his feet, he's very defensively minded, so Haye's going to have to lunge it now and again to get close. He's trying to shuffle his way close, it's not working, so he tried to lunge with a shot there. There's hardly been a decent punch landed in the opening round yet. A couple of flicks to the body from Haye. I mean, you have to expect this. When you're in with a man who can take your head off with one shot, then you can't blame Harrison maybe for just warming his way into things here. But he's looking for him already.
Almost exaggerated caution in this opening round. One or two boos from restless fans. They both know that each other have got a bit of a dig and are respectful of that. No punches landed in this round so far. And there are, what, a few seconds left of it.
Well, Haye looking the more positive, but just can't close the range. Harris is making sure of that, so not too much happened, and the crowd are aware of that.
Don't be impatient. Don't be. Forget the booing, okay? Your job is to terrify.
Adam Boone with David Haye looking very thoughtful in the corner. That first round, I have to say, it was a 0-0 draw.
That's exactly what it was. And what you have to remember in this kind of fight, Haye is the one who's expected to produce. So if we get another couple of rounds like this, then he's the one who's going to have to take the bull by the horns, take some chances. He is the champion, he is the one who brings excitement. So that's when he could run on to something.
Look at Haye's right glove up very high, worried about maybe that left hand that Harrison flattened Michael Sprock with, aware of that. But can he engineer any angles of his own? He's unusually cautious, David Haye, almost like he was with Nikolai Valuev on the night he won the title, when he made the Russian just lunge at him and miss all night. It was an unsatisfactory affair. There's something has to give soon.
Yep, he cannot do this for any great length of time, but because the fans won't put up with it. I mean, there was euphoria after the Valuev victory, although it was one of the poorest fights I've seen. This is more like it. But you see, again, Haye is having to lunge forward. He cannot box his way close. He's having to lunge with the punches, and there won't be the same power in them.
I just wonder whether Harrison, even though he's a southpaw, might be able to land the right hand, because look at the left glove of Haye, which is low, and he has been caught by that before as well. Whether he could surprise him with that. All the talk about the backhand, the left of Harrison.
I think the Harrison plan is to get into the second half of the fight, whatever method you have to use to do that. And I think the referee's going to have to call for a bit of action. He's done that.
He has. Luis Pavon from Puerto Rico says, how about some action, guys? And he's well within his rights to do that.
I think the 3 stone weight difference is a disadvantage in the first half of the fight, but an advantage if the fight goes into the later stages. And I can assume that is the plan the Harrison camp have. Do whatever's necessary to still be there 7th and 8th round.
Harris had to take a right hand there from Haye, who's done a little bit more in this second round. Well, that is a comparative remark, and he gets there again with a right hand.
But again, leaping with the punches, so there's no power in those shots because he's not setting himself. Power comes from speed and good balance. He's completely off balance in order to get some sort of punch home.
But it's Haye who's trying to make the fight anyway in round 2. Still very, very negative. Audley Harrison, I think one southpaw jab is just about all I've seen from him really so far.
Ian, I think this is what we have to expect from Audley Harrison. I mean, he's been reluctant throughout his career. You cannot expect him to take chances against David Haye. I don't expect him to do that.
Haye's round, it has to be.
That's what I want you to do.
Shadid Saluki in the corner, West Coast trainer in the USA.
Man, when you got your feet under you.
Now, that to me, I think that's about the only punch he's landed so far.
Yeah,
Harrison.
and you can see the look on his face. As soon as it landed, he was ready to get out of there, and there he goes. But this has to be expected of Harrison. It's in his psyche to box like this anyway. He's an on-top fighter. He has to get on top before he lets the big punches go. But the good news for the fans is that Haye is expected to do better. So as we're reaching the stage, he is going to have to produce something, or the fans will be on his back.
Seen an awful lot of the speed we were talking about and thought we'd see from Haye when he came in at only just over 15 stone. That, by the way, is nearly 12 pounds less than he weighed last time against John Ruiz.
But that's because even for his size, Harrison is quick on his feet. He's been backing off. As soon as Haye nudges himself into punching range, Harrison takes that little half step back, just trying to draw lead. Good right hand there. Harrison grab and hold.
And another right hand and another body shot. Haye goes to work. Still nothing from Harrison. And at some point in this fight, he is going to have to lay it on the line on this his biggest professional night if he wants to become a world champion. Another big right hand has hurt him. He was stunned by that. The gloves were dropped. Haye knows it. Looks for an uppercut. Getting to him here. He's getting to him here. Oh, big shots raining through. Harrison has to suck it up. He does suck it up.
Ian, that was a tremendous punch. Full credit for taking that. He needs to grab hold. He needs to grab hold of David Haye.
Floored Audley Harrison. Down he goes in round 3. Can he get up? Counts at 6. He gets up at 8. Shows the courage he does want to go on. But Haye hits very hard and he hurts and he's going to finish it here. I think he does finish it. All over in round 3. There's your answer. David Haye shows his class in a fight in which Audley Harrison barely threw a punch.
Well, the fight reached the stage where Haye was the one who was expected to do something, and he certainly did that. The speed, the power completely took charge. Full credit to Harrison, not on his performance, but for a couple of those tremendous punches that he took to the chin and remained upright. Credit also for coming.
Well, there he is with the belt still around the waist. Let's hear from the Haymaker, David Haye, with Adam Smith.
David Haye, a sweet second defence of your WBA title. Were you always convinced you were going to crush Audley Harrison?
Yeah, I'm convinced I can crush anyone in the world. I'm in great condition, as you can see. I can punch and land punches whenever I choose to. That's why this fight went to the 3rd round. I put a lot of money on the 3rd round. A lot of my friends and family did, so I didn't want to let them down by doing them too early.
You're serious? That was the round you picked? That's why it was such a slow start?
Yeah, ask around. I told everyone I'd knock him out in 3 rounds, and that's exactly what I did. You know, no way was he going into that 4th round. I knew if he would have gave me something silly early, but he didn't. He was being very cautious. All I had to do was just apply myself a little bit more, and the shots would have landed. And that's how confident, that's how in control I am when I'm in there. I could have took him out earlier if I really put my foot on the pedal, but there was no need. I was being patient. I was waiting for him to give me the perfect opportunity to land my haymaker.
After all the talk and the hype, there were boos after the first couple of rounds because neither of you were doing anything really.
I knew that there was going to be a big 3rd round. I knew the boos would turn into cheers in a matter of minutes. Adam wasn't fussed about that. He said to ignore it, and that's exactly what I did. I came back in the 3rd round, like I said from the very first. But to ask a few reporters, I said after the weigh-in, after I looked him in the eyes, I knew that it wouldn't go further than 3 rounds.
Audley Harrison told us it was his destiny that he would knock you out with his left hand. He hasn't said anything else for about the last 10 weeks. He was bitterly disappointing, wasn't he?
Yeah, you know, one thing about me, when you look at videos of me fighting, I look like I'm easy to hit. But when you're actually in there fighting me, it's a completely different thing. I didn't give him the opportunity to land that left hand. I don't even know how many times he threw it, but it wasn't there for him to throw any. I was waiting for him to throw the left hand so I could counter it. He knew that. He knows me really well. But, you know, credit to him. He got himself in good shape. But maybe he could go on and fight someone else and win a title, but it's definitely not against me.
You proved again your power is so destructive. Now, going forward into 2011, the fight we all want to see is with one of the Klitschko's, Vitaly or Vladimir. You can hear the crowd's reaction. We've got to make that happen, haven't we?
Next year, I promise that fight's going to happen. I know there's nowhere else for them guys to go. They're fighting the Hassim Ratmans, the Shannon Briggs. They're fighting all the guys everyone's bored of, you know. Audley Harrison is a character in the UK. People got behind him, and that's why this fight happened. Who wants to see him fight Shannon Briggs or some of these anonymous Americans, fat Americans coming over for a payday? No one wants to see that, so they've got no other options. They have to come and sit down at the table and talk sense, and we've got to get that fight happening next year.
You say talk sense, hand on your heart. Can you go in there and make the negotiations and even take a little bit less money or something to prove that you're the best heavyweight in the world? Because at the moment, there are question marks still.
There's always, even if I knocked them both out, there's still be question marks. That's the thing about boxing. There's always question marks, but I guarantee those fights will happen next year, and I guarantee I'll give them the same treatment as Audley Harrison got, and that's a knockout.
David, congratulations. You keep your world title. Have you got a message for Audley Harrison after all the needle and the dislike?
Yeah, you know, we straightened it out once and for all in the ring. You know, there's a lot of disputes going on in the world, and it's a shame you can't go and get in a ring over 12 rounds and settle them. But, you know, I think the bad blood's gone now. You know, I've known Audley for many years, and, you know, I'd like to, you know, take him out for a drink after this.
That's nice to hear. Wonderful occasion, wonderful atmosphere. Not a great fight, but a wonderful knockout win for you. Well done, David.
Great finish.
Go. David Haye showing some dignity in victory there. The best of enemies, the best of friends now, he says. But he cuts a very lonely figure, doesn't he? Audley Harrison really didn't show up tonight. The big fight analysis is on the way next.